Hi guys! So this is our very first episode and I have my husband behind the camera. So we traveled from Abu Dhabi and landed in Edmonton on April 19th. So it was during this pandemic situation and we are new immigrants with confirmed COPR. I know a lot of you are out there waiting to travel during this time, and just because of the lockdown and maybe your visas are gonna expire. Ours were gonna expire by end of this month. So I know that there's a lot of you out there waiting for the same. So we thought this video could help you guys on how our travel was and what are the things that you have to keep in mind and things like that. So first of all, we were supposed to land mid-March, but due to the border closure, we could not travel and we cancelled our tickets. And then we kept rescheduling our tickets around 3 times. So around 4 times our tickets were cancelled. And again, because we fall under the exemptions, not everybody can land in Canada at the moment, as you know. It's only the Canadian citizens, the permanent residents, and new immigrants who has their COPR confirmed. So we were falling under the exemptions and we were glad we could travel, but it's just that there was no flight available. And finally, luckily for us, from my CEO, I got to know, because the Canadian Embassy of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they were sending emails to the Canadians who had registered under the Registry of Canadians Abroad about the flights that were flying from, this is about repatriation flights. So flying from Abu Dhabi or Dubai to London or Amsterdam. And from there, we had to take another connection flight to Canada. This was our possibility. So hearing this, I just called Etihad and checked if there was any way that they could make it a connection flight via London, because being Indian passport holders, if we are going to take 2 separate flights, that means if I go from Abu Dhabi to London in one flight and take another flight, separately another flight from London to Canada, we would need transit visa, and getting transit visa during this time, you know how difficult that could be. So we decided to try our luck with Etihad again, and we checked if there is a connection flight, and luckily for us there was a connection flight. So guys, please make sure that you look at all the transit visa cases, and first of all, look at the repatriation flights available from your country. That could help you to leave from wherever you are right now to Canada. That's how it worked for us. So we got the connection flight with Etihad. They were very helpful, thankfully. And then came the day of our travel. So we had all our bags packed because you know how many times did our tickets get cancelled. So the day that we were traveling, the airports that you have seen before Corona and after Corona, it's completely different. I mean, everything that you see is different, but the airports are so empty. It's just the repatriation flights or special flights that are leaving the airport. And at the airport, they will make sure, because this is a repatriation flight, they will make sure that you are eligible to travel. So luckily for us, we had sent an email to the Canadian Embassy to get a confirmation that we can travel. We knew we could, but still this confirmation is just an extra backup. So Canadian Embassy replied. They're working 24/7, the Abu Dhabi and Dubai Canadian Embassies. Great job, seriously. So they sent us the email, and we were carrying that email on our phones, and we showed the confirmation, and that's how they confirmed that we could travel. And coming back to the flight, the safety in the flights are amazing. They're doing everything that they can to make sure that we are traveling with peace of mind. First of all, you would get seats assigned. You cannot book your seat. If you're taking a repatriation flights, you cannot check in online or book your seats. They would assign it to you at the check-in, and it was randomly assigned. And once we were on the flight, once the flight took off, then we were reassigned so that they made sure that there was nobody sitting in front of you and behind you. That's how safe it was. So guys, just our friend gave us a tip, and we're gonna give you the same tip. Make sure that you carry a lot of wipes, sanitizer sprays, and the sanitizers itself, like a lot of them, because they said that things are a little less available here now. The stocks are running out, so make sure that you carry that. Everything that I'm talking is from our experience, so we're gonna share you whatever we heard and what we know. So we made sure that we sprayed everywhere possible. I know it's a little too much, but then it's never too much for safety purpose. And the airlines, I know they make sure that they sanitize before we enter, but what's the harm in us doing the same? So we made sure that wherever we could spray, like the seats, the window side, or the tray table, or the handles, the belts, we just sprayed everything. So every time we went to the toilet too, we used the spray for the handle to open or to close and everything. So and just please make sure that the spray bottles or the sanitizers, it's not more than 100 milli that you're gonna carry, because especially at London airport, once we land and once we have to cross the customs area, they give us a small plastic bag to put all your liquids, let's say makeup items, eyeliners, any sprays, or any deodorants or anything that's liquidy. It shouldn't cross 100 ml, and so that everything, they gave a plastic bag and we had to put everything in that. So that's gonna happen. That also happened in Vancouver when we landed. So that's gonna happen in a lot of places. So just make sure that you don't have anything more than 100 milli. Then the flight was good. Everything was safe, and the cabin crews, they were wearing masks, gloves and everything, and the way they gave us the meals and the way they were interacting with us was, they were following the COVID rules for interaction and everything. So they made sure that we were comfortable, and they made sure that we were safe. Then we landed at Vancouver airport. So it was the first stop for us. And as you all know, being new immigrants and with COPR, wherever you land first in Canada would be where you have to clear your first landing procedures. And so we landed there, and the first thing that we went to was a kiosk, computerized kiosks, where we scanned our passports, and there were a few questions, and it took a picture of us and everything, but it didn't complete. The process couldn't complete. There was an error, so they sent us to manual counters, and there the border security, the counters, and from there we were supposed to fill a declaration form. And the declaration form asks you different questions, like where you're gonna stay, what's your contact number. So the contact number you could give in anybody's contact number who's currently in Canada that you know of, and then the address is where you're gonna stay, and that's where your PR card is gonna be delivered to. So make sure the address is somewhere that you know that everything will be okay. Then the declaration, it asks you different questions, like are you carrying money more than $10,000, or are you carrying food items like tinned fish, nuts and things like that. So guys, I would suggest, because after this we got to know that we're not supposed to bring tinned chicken. The border officers, they told us that we could be even barred from entering Canada. Like they could even tell us to do that if we, because it's our first time, they kind of let it go, but they said consume it at the earliest. But the tinned fish, they said it's okay, but I would suggest it's much better to be on the safe side, tinned items to avoid them, and nuts were okay. So but declare everything. If you're carrying everything, please be honest about it and declare everything. And so this was the part where we filled the forms. They checked our passports and everything, and they let us go. And our bags were tagged from Abu Dhabi to Vancouver, so we had to take our baggage out and then check in again and give the baggage again, so that it could be taken to our next stop and the final stop, that's Edmonton. After this procedures, we went to the baggage area, and unfortunately for us, one of our bags did not come from London, but the officers at the Vancouver airport for the baggage section was very, very, very helpful. So the officers, they told us to fill in a form, and they helped us fill in the details of our lost luggage. So once that was done, we went to the next section, which was the immigration section. So once we were there, even there the officers were really helpful. So they made us sit, they took all of our documents, that is the landing document and the passport and the declaration form that we filled. So all these things were taken. After that, they called us and they asked us about the tinned food that I that I spoke to you about. That's where we got to know that it's much better not to carry that. Then after that, the declaration part, there was so each of us as a proof of fund that we were carrying more than $10,000 with us together, a total. So they gave a form and they said one of us has to fill it and say how much is the amount and everything. It's just that declare everything, that's it. If you don't declare is when the trouble is. If you declare, it's okay. So we declared and we said that the money was from our savings and end of service and things like that. And that was it. I had to sign, that was all. And they confirmed our address again, so that the PR card, they said that because of the corona issue, it could take around 4 to 8 weeks for the PR card to reach us. And after that, they asked my husband and I to declare a few things in front of them, saying, have we ever committed any, have we been convicted for any kind of crimes, or have we ever been declined entry to Canada? So we have to answer it ourselves, saying no and everything. That was that part. I'm sorry I'm going in details, because these are the things that you would want to know, like how is it gonna be. So after this, there was no process for SIN, because you all have to know the social insurance number. At the moment, the Service Canada centers are closed, even at the airport, so we did not do any kind of registration for the SIN. We couldn't. And then after that, the next thing that we did was we had our luggages with us. So we took all the luggage, that is the hand baggage and the check-in baggage. Now for Etihad, it was 23 kilo of 2 bags for each person. That's the check-in baggage and the hand baggage on the side. So we had an extra bag of 32 kilo which we bought. So in total 23 kilo of 4 bags and 1 bag of 32 kilo. At Vancouver airport, our international flight is done. Now next is a domestic flight that we are taking. So as we are giving the baggages to the next flight, which is a domestic flight, usually the scenario is that we will have to pay. That's why, guys, please be very careful, because when this international flight becomes domestic flight, each bag is $100 extra bag other than whatever is on your ticket. So luckily for us, because we paid at the Etihad airport, you have to carry the receipt, and one of our baggages were lost, and when we requested, they allowed us to take, because with the extra bag and other 3 bags, it was only 4 bags that one of the bags were lost, right? So they said they let us go without paying, because we showed the receipt also. We already paid a lot from Abu Dhabi, so that's the thing. So the next flight was the domestic flight. And I didn't tell you, the Air Canada flight that we took from London to Vancouver, at the boarding gate, they asked us for that's where they asked us for the landing papers, the passports, just to make sure that we are the entry for us is confirmed for and approved in Canada. That was at the London airport, yeah. So everything was smooth there, so we showed everything. So keep these papers handy with you, passport, landing papers and everything, so that you can give it to them immediately. That was the one place that they checked it. And then after that, like I said, fast forward, we landed in Vancouver, and then from there, now we are about to take the domestic flight from there. So this flight had only 6 passengers because of the corona situation. So things were nice there too, like distance wise, social distance wise, everything was fine. So the flight was smooth. So we reached Edmonton. Once we landed Edmonton, it was just the customs area to be we crossed it, and then we just took our luggage, and that's it. Because it was a domestic part, because we finished our landing formalities in Vancouver, everything was smooth. By the way, guys, Vancouver airport and Edmonton, they do ask if everything is okay, you don't have any symptoms of corona and things like that, and they confirm with you if you have a place to stay in isolation, and they make sure that they ask you that you do know about that. On 14 days you should not be stepping out of your house. So just make sure that you say the same, and just make sure that you have places ready for self-isolation. And so we found a place through Kijiji, and you can use kijiji.com, and then there's also Airbnb, but just make sure that the place that you book is for a little more than 14 days, so that it helps you to, after you finish the isolation, you can go out and search for a permanent place. Then the taxis. In Edmonton airport, there were few taxis outside, but fortunately for us, the owner, she was really kind. She sent one of her friend to pick us up. So just guys, please make sure that you carry a lot of masks, then gloves. So what we did was every few hours in your handbag, so that before you go to the airport, you're wearing gloves and masks and everything. After a few hours, you should discard it and get the other pair. Then after you land in the new airport, same thing. So just within like intervals, make sure that you change it. And so just have these things ready, sprays, masks, gloves in your handbag, so you can keep changing. And so food wise, Abu Dhabi airport, there were no restaurants open. There was a vending machine, yes. Then at London airport, we did not see any restaurants. And Vancouver airport, there were restaurants. So guys, just because you're having a long journey ahead of you, make sure you have some ready to eat food. Like we had some Swiss rolls and like small cakes with us. Just that's all packaged and sealed, so that just in case of emergency we could use them. Then once we reached Edmonton, we did not see any restaurants as well. So during our journey from the Edmonton airport to our house, there were some stores open for groceries and things like that, but we didn't stop anywhere because we had our friend coming the next day dropping grocery at our door. Luckily for us, so then in that case we didn't have to stop for anything. But if you don't have anybody, don't step out for getting grocery. If you need anything urgent, make sure that you tell the driver who is okay, they are okay to go and get it for you. There are options to order grocery online here. We haven't explored them, but I know for sure there are options, so at least you could use them too. Oh, by the way, the SIN, social insurance number, the latest information that we have is the only way of applying it is through mail. That means postal way. Guys, we're currently using the network Lucky, and it has been very useful so far. But what the information that I just got from my husband is that once we get a SIN number, we could port this number, the prepaid number, to a postpaid number to any other network. That's also possible. So we'll see how it goes. First thing is the health card that we're thinking about. Then the bank account openings. Once we are out of the isolation, we'll go sign and have it all ready. Then after these two things is when we would be thinking about sending our documents, the passport and the landing documents for the SIN number, because we're a little worried about sending the original documents, which I know a lot of you would be worried about. So we are just fingers crossed and praying that the Service Canada centers would open up by then. So there is no worries. Just go in, get your SIN number and come outside. So let's see. We'll keep you posted. We'll let you know how it is. And once the isolation period is done, we would go outside and show you guys how things are around and show you Edmonton as we see it. So thank you. Thank you for watching us. Please like and subscribe and have a great day. Bye.